Okay, so I'm now officially recording, so I don't forget to do that. Now I'm going to open up our page. Okay, here it is. So what we got going on this week? Let's take a look here. Everyone should see this window now. Okay, we're up to week number 14 already. This here at the bottom where it says Excel notes important. These are just notes. And there's a little video explains formulas and functions. That's important to look at. I'm going to come back to that tomorrow. Okay. It's not an actual assignment. It just, you have to understand the fundamentals of Excel, which is in the notes there. And you have to, one thing before I forget, by now, everyone should have taken the Excel pretest. Okay. Um, if you haven't taken it, here's the thing: once you start learning it, it defeats the whole purpose of a pretest. You know, I'm tempted to give someone a 0 if they spent a whole week and ignored all my requests to take it. It's a free 20 points if you take it. The only catch is any of them that you don't know or don't guess at, you have to put down either I don't know or IDK. So I know you at least looked at the question. Okay. So if you do that, you can get 20 free points. That's simple. But follow those guidelines. I talked about that last week and everything. Once we start learning Excel, there's no, the pretest becomes like worth nothing because, once you start learning skills, then you'll put them on the pretest and that ruins the whole pretest. You might say, Mr. Rio, are you saying you want us to do bad in the pretest? Well, let me put it this way. I'm doing this for data reasons. So we're going to take the same test in like 2 weeks or something. So I want it to come across as you learned how to do everything on that test or most of it, So I assume most of you did not know it. Maybe you know nothing. Maybe you know one or two of them. And that's okay. That's why it's a pretest. So show that you learned. Now, if you did take Excel before and you do know all of it and you put it on there honestly, that's okay. Sometimes we get students like that. Okay, so what do we got going here? This here is just, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow, but it's just basically a bunch of notes about the fundamentals of Excel, about formulas and functions and how to write them and charts and things like that. Okay, so that's coming up tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Now, this is what we're doing today in class. We're not going to do the whole assignment today. I'm going to do like a part 1 of it. It's Excel Workbook 1. And I'm going to explain what a workbook is and what a worksheet or spreadsheet is. By the way, we use the same term. It's worksheet and spreadsheet to mean the same thing. And we're going to start making some of these. Now, you made one last week with the budget, and I did a little thing online with that. And now I'm going to take you through this assignment today and tomorrow. So if you either do it live with me now or watch the video later, I'm going to cover what you need to know. So we'll be doing an Excel assignment together. Now, later in the week, we'll talk about Generation Like, but this is a pretty interesting video. It's about social media and young people and wanting attention and how people use social media and the business side of social media. So this is connected to stuff we're doing about the internet, about the World Wide Web and all that. So you can hold off this here to at least Wednesday if you want to do it, Wednesday or Thursday. But I'll talk about that at the Thursday Zoom session. So hopefully by then you will have seen it. But it's pretty interesting. I think you'll like it. There's a little assignment goes with it. It's not hard at all. Okay. So it's not much this week. If you're here and you pay attention and you do what I ask you to do, it's going to be a pretty easy week. Now for the Excel assignment, I'd say, Mr. Rio, there's no assignment for me to click on here. We're going to start by opening up a blank Excel document. Now, I'm going to see if I could do this in the same window and have you guys still see it. Let me try. I'm going to use the online version of Excel. So you might say, Mr. Rio, how do you get to that again? You just put in Office 365. That takes us to Microsoft Office login. Now, mine went straight through. If you're doing it and you haven't been to the online version in a while, it'll have you log in. You always pick an option that it's a work or organization account. You never pick personal. And you have to use your Harper Creek login, just like you would on your Harper Creek computer. And if all goes well, you can get all the way through there to where this is your online office. These are the office programs over here, the online versions. There's Excel right there. We'll come back to that. Here's there's Microsoft Word. Now you might say, Mr. Rio, can I open the full version of Excel on my school computer? And the answer is yes. It's going to look very similar. I'm just using the online version because that's something I can do that you can also do if you want to. Now it looks like you can see my window here. I see it's highlighted in green. So if you can't, let me know, but it should say good afternoon right here and have Excel and all that over here. Okay. So I'm going to click on Excel. And if, like I said, if you want to do it in the full version, you can. It's just opening up Excel. Now, in Excel, whichever version you open, you probably have an open option for a new workbook. Now, the word workbook is different from worksheet or spreadsheet. So I'm going to be explaining the difference here. But if you're doing the online one with me, just you're in here on your online Office 365. You click on Excel and then you click on a new workbook. And it comes up something like this. Now, in the bottom corner should be a little plus or minus 100%. I usually go up to, I'm going to go up to like 150%, maybe more, maybe 170%. So you guys can see better what I'm doing here. Now, just to review Excel again. Now, if you're in the full version, you probably have a slider down here in the bottom right. I have a little plus minus thing here I can click. So we're trying to give ourselves a nice version here. Now, I'll be sharing the PDF that has the basic data of what I'm about to do with you guys here, but I'm not going to put that up there right this minute. I'm just going to start writing in here what we need to do. We're on our first worksheet. See down here where it says sheet? That means we're in a sheet. And we can click here and add another sheet and another sheet and another sheet. Now I'm going to pretend we're going to be doing a couple more sheets, which we are, but you can click and make more. Now I'm going to go back to this first one I made. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to click on the first one. Now for the first one, I'm going to type up here in the top mileage. I'm going to hit return. And then I'm going to put summary. Now my text may look big because I made the view big. Okay. So you guys could read it easier. Now I can click up here in between A and B and it becomes a double arrow, or it should become a double. There it is. And I can make that wider. Now a little review on Excel here. What is Excel all about? We have columns, A, B, C, D, and so on. And we have rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that. Now, when you put together, the idea of a spreadsheet is you can have not only text on it like you would in a Word document, but you can have numbers and formulas, and you can organize stuff. You can do multiplication, division, addition, whatever you need to do mathematically. Okay. So this is very common need in the business world. So for this first one here, I'm going to drop down to here and I'm going to put vehicle. Okay, now for the next one, I'm going to hit the tab button. It's going to go to B4. I was on A4, now I'm on B4. See the row in the column? Okay, now I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go hit the tab key again. And that's going to take me to the next row or column. And I'm going to type the word gallons. And then I'm going to hit return and hit return again. Oh, I'm going to go up. I'm going to use the arrow keys to go back. I want to go underneath vehicle. So I'm going to put numbers. I'm going to hit tab. And then I'm going to put miles. I'm going to put tab. Put used. Hit tab. And MPG. Okay. So that's not too bad. We got vehicle numbers, miles, gallons used, MPG. Now underneath vehicle numbers, we'll skip a row. And we'll click here. This will be an A7. I'm going to do 503. I'm going to hit return. I'm going to do 502. Hit return. 504. Hit return. And then 507. For miles, I'm going to go up here, right there, B7, and I'm going to do 486. Hit return. 330. Hit return. 392. Hit return. And 378. Gallons used. I do 20.25. I'm going to do 11. 14. And 15.75. And miles per gallon, we're going to do 24, 30, 28, and 24. Okay, so I'm going to highlight all these cells right here. See up here in the middle, I got alignment. I can pull this down, and you have all these different options. I'm going to pick the center alignment right there. I'm going to deselect. So right now, this is looking pretty good. Now, what are we doing here? Well, let's stop and think logically. This is a mileage summary. We have vehicles that have these numbers. We don't know where the numbers came from, but we'll say they're 4 different vehicles. This is how far they drove, 486, 330, so on. It's labeled right there, miles. How many gallons of gas was used? And their MPG. Now, I kind of screwed up here. Let's highlight these here and delete that. If you did that with me. The reason is that we don't want to just type in numbers. We want to do a calculation. Okay, that's why we're in a spreadsheet. You can do a mathematical calculation. But before we do that, we'll highlight all these key terms here. We'll hit bold. I usually make them 11. And up until this point, this is okay. Now, the mile per gallon, we're going to do a formula. We're going to do a type of formula called a function. How does that work? It's actually very easy. First, let's click right there. How do we calculate? Actually, we just, we don't even need to use a function. We're just going to use a normal basic formula. How do we calculate miles per gallon? It's really simple. We take that 486 miles and we divide by 20.25. But we don't literally write 486 divided by 20.25. We put an equal sign. Then we have to put in the cell reference. So this one here is B7. So we're going to put B7. Then we do a backslash. And then let's see how many gallons used. We went 486 miles. We're going to divide it by, it's going to be C7. Now, you notice what I did there. I didn't put the actual number. I put the miles, B7, divided by 20.25, and that's gallons used. So when you take the miles you went and divide by the gallons, this one comes up with 24, which is pretty good. Now, I could go through and just do the same thing for each of these, but even easier, if you remember, I'm going to click here. I'm going to click the little spring down here, drag it down, and let go. Now, this here is, this last one here is quite a bit decimals there. So with all these selected, I'm going to go up here and select format. This is a number format. It's not a currency format. There's no dollars there for mile per gallon. But I'm going to click for number. And I'm going to do, let's see what options we got here. Okay, right now that's looking pretty good. Now what's going on here? I'm going to click this here. And if you see up here, this is called the formula bar. Even though I'm in the online version of Excel, it looks pretty much the same as the full version. Okay, so it's B7 divided by C7 And then, of course, do the same thing all the way down here. Oh, also when I did that, it rounded out the decimal points here too, which definitely makes it feel looks better than a long decimal point. Okay, so that's our mileage. And we're going to go down here to sheet 1 and we can name that. Let's name it. Let's just do abbreviation MPG. Whoops, I actually deleted the MPG and we hit OK. Now we got a sheet named MPG. We got mileage. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to make like this here in bold, you can highlight it, click on bold. You can always pick a different color if you want to. Okay, I'm just looking. I could make this a different color. You can do all kind of editing. This you can edit the text and make it bold, whatever you want. So this here is just keeping track on our vehicles, the mileage, the gas used, and the mile per gallon. So the one that was the best was this vehicle right here, got 30 miles to the gallon. Now we're going to go on to sheet 2. Let's go down here at the bottom where it says sheet 2. And I'm going to make my cells bigger here. Okay. So for the second one here, I'm just getting out my data. Okay, we're going to do employees working. So I'm going to put earnings schedule. This won't take long. And I'll be sharing these numbers with you and stuff. We got earnings schedule. We're going to click here and put employee. Whoop, I put schedule. Well, I guess I could do it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to put employee. Hit tab. Hours worked. Now, you notice how this is wider than this. I can go up here and drag this over. Whoops. Okay, hours worked. Pay rate. And then the last one is gross earnings. Now this one's wider. I'm going to drag it over even though I don't really have to. It'll make it look better. I drag this one here a little bit and drag this one here a little bit. So I go up here in between A and B or B and C or whichever ones I need. I get a double arrow and I can just drag it. I even bring employee over a little bit. Now underneath this, I'm going to skip a row on purpose. I'm going to put Kingston. And I'm going to put night. Whoops, I don't want night there. I want night below. I forgot I hit the wrong one. And I want Lancaster and Lindsay. Okay. This here, hours worked. I wanted that spread out. Okay, so we got 40. Whoops. Get hit return 38, 32, and 38. Okay, and then for the pay rate, let's see, we're going to do 7.85 for the first one. Probably minimum wage is higher now. I'll make that 8.85. I'll make this one here 8.35. And then the next one will go 9.25. Whoop. And the last one here, we will go 8.23. Okay, so this is the hourly rate. We're going to format all this here in a little bit. Then we're going to have our earnings. Now, if we work 40 hours a week and we make this amount per hour, what's our earnings going to be? So we have to do a formula here. All formulas have to start with an equal sign. So we put an equal sign. They have to have a cell reference. So in this case, we're going to take this here, B, and it puts it in there automatically. And then we put an asterisk from above the letter 8 if you hold down the shift key. And then we put in our 8.85. Okay, and then we hit return, and turns out the earnings is $354. Now, we could go through each of these three right here and do the exact same thing going across. But as some of you may remember, you can click up here and just drag this here down, and it'll bring over the same type of formulas. If I click on that, there it is, B6 times 8.85. Now, this first one here was B5 times 8.85. This one here is... Now I don't know why this one... Oh, I know. Okay. We got different... I guess I'm going to have to do these manually. I just realized that fill down doesn't work when you change the pay for each of them because it's going to keep the pay the same. Actually, for you guys know what we're going to do? We'll simplify this. We'll just keep the pay all the way down. So all these will be 885. I'll keep it simple for you guys. Okay. So we got the same pay rate. Now, two people are going to make the same money because they got the same number of hours. Now, we're not done here. First, we're going to highlight all this up here and make it bold. If you want to center it, you can go here and do an alignment, and they'll align things up in between. Now, we're going to highlight this data right here, and we're going to center it. Notice I just pull down here, look for alignment. If you're in the full version, you might need to look somewhere slightly different. Now, this is not pay rate. This is hours worked. So we don't want a dollar sign in front of that. But we do want a dollar sign in front of all these right here. So we're going to click that. See, there's pull down menu right here. It says general. Pull that down to currency. And that's it. They should all now have a dollar sign and be in a decimal. Down here, there's our sheet 2 name down here. Double click. And we're going to call it earnings. If you're in the full version, you might be able to just type it directly into there. So we just did 2 worksheets, which is also known as a spreadsheet. Miles per gallon and earnings. Miles per gallon and earnings. Now, why do we not put dollar signs on any of these right here? Because miles isn't a dollar sign, gallons isn't a dollar sign, and mile per gallon is not a dollar sign. Okay, so none of it's currency. Then when you click on here for earnings, you got your basic information here. You got a few continued, we got people working here. We got pay rate. We got gross earnings. So these are the hours that they work. Now, here's another beauty of spreadsheets. We'll do this now. No, we got 2 there the same. Let's pretend that Lindsay actually did overtime. So let's say that they did 48 hours. They did 40 hours plus 8 hours extra. They can do that. Let's say they're paid the same for all of it, even though in reality, overtime is usually more money. And then we hit return. See, it automatically recalculates right here. And you can highlight all this up here and make it bold if you haven't done so already. So that should be fairly easy. You just have to type in Now let's say you look back a year and say, Mr. Rio, I typed my earning schedule on A2 instead of A1, and all my stuff is like a row or two below yours. That's okay. As long as it looks the same and does the same thing, it doesn't really matter if it started on that row or this row or this row. And so I'll talk more about Excel in general tomorrow. Today I want to do an introduction here. And like I said, if you haven't done the pre-test, get that out of the way first before you do this. Then this one here, we're just gonna, we'll do the other sheets tomorrow. And that's about it. Now, if you're in the online version like me, you don't have to hit save. It does that automatically. If you're in the full version, you might have to hit save unless you're, I don't know, set up to auto save. Okay, that's it. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but I just took you through half of the assignment. Tomorrow we'll do the other half of the assignment. It's not hard, and hopefully you'll be learning some basics of Excel. Okay, so you guys take care. JD, Tyler, Hanson, Matt, Sarita, Aiden, and if you missed anything, this recording will be posted in a little bit. Have a good day. Take care.
Bye, Mr. Rio.
See you, Sarita. See you, Aiden. See you, Hanson. See you, JD.
And
You,
it
Matt.
was nice to finally meet you in person too.
Yeah. Sarita stopped by and said hello last week. That was nice. Do that again sometime. I will not be here Wednesday, by the way. So, but either way,
I will be there next Friday too, or this Friday.
Okay, sounds
on
good.
the building.
Take care.
So let me know if you have a surprise meeting beforehand.
I will. It's sometimes these things. Well, it's by the nature of a surprise meeting, it's a surprise. So I never know for sure.